If you can't beat them, join them, and that's what Tony Khan has in mind as he dreams of getting the AEW library on the Max streaming service. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. We're here to talk about Tony Khan, Mr. Delusional Tony Khan, the president of AEW, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the owner of Fulham Football Club, aka the guy that didn't make any of his daddy's money but is more than happy to spend it. Yes, that man, the Khan man, Tony Khan, has been speaking to PW Insider, and he's been talking about expanding his relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery and potentially getting the AEW library on the Max streaming service. For example, HBO Max, so that fans can enjoy thousands of hours of previous great wrestling. And he begins by saying that AEW currently has all the bones to succeed on a streaming platform. Now, I don't know if I agree with that. AEW's only been on 4 years. Yeah, he can put that content on a streaming service, but it's 4 years, really, of AEW, and it's all recent stuff. A lot of times, people want to relive the stuff in the past. Do we really care about what happened 6 months ago in AEW? I personally don't think so. But this is what Tony Khan had to say. Quote, "We have all the bones for a really strong streaming platform. It would be a very strong addition to any streaming platform, and my dream is that it all lands on Max. It would be tremendous. Right now, AEW All Access is available on Max, which is very cool, and hopefully this is a step in the right direction, getting all our stuff streaming. We have a great library. Altogether, with everything I own, it's thousands of hours of great wrestling, and the AEW catalogue has grown so much considering we started this thing from scratch 4 years ago. I believe the streaming service will happen. As to where it is and what platform it is, that's something that I believe largely will be influenced by Warner Bros." End of quote. So, Khan wants to move to a streaming service. He wants AEW to not have its own network, but kind of similar, I guess, to WWE, where they did have their own network, then they put all their library on Peacock. I guess this is similar to AEW, where they don't want an AEW network, but they want to put the AEW library and everything else that Tony Khan owns onto a bigger subscription service that will pay them the money for their library. And I just don't think this is going to work. I mean, when you look at it, what does AEW and Tony Khan actually own? Like I said, they've got 4 years approximately worth of AEW. That includes the Dynamites, the Rampage, AEW Dark, all that stuff though is accessible on YouTube. At least the Dark stuff is, Elevation is. Okay, Dynamite and Rampage, they can put that stuff on a streaming service. Collision, I guess, has been at, what, 7-8 weeks? Would they really put that stuff up? Maybe 1 or 2 episodes for now, but I mean, that's a brand new show. That ain't going to influence anything. They've got the pay-per-views. I think they did a couple of pay-per-views before AEW Dynamite debuted it, so they have that. Tony Khan did buy Ring of Honor. He does own the library for Ring of Honor, but he paid a shitload of money for that. I believe it was approximately, what, $30 to $40 million he paid for Ring of Honor, and it's just not worth that much. Honestly, the Ring of Honor library ain't worth shit. If we're being honest, there was no stars in Ring of Honor, there was no legends in Ring of Honor, there's no name value in Ring of Honor. And while some guys might have went on to have good careers, likes of Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, they went on to have good careers in WWE. What they done in Ring of Honor isn't really memorable. No one is crying out for it. Yeah, some of the marks and some of the indie fans would love to get their hands on that shit because they love indie wrestling, but I don't think it's very marketable. I don't think you're going to get these big streaming services that want to pay loads of money for that. I mean, Peacock want WWE because of the brand. Look at who WWE have. They've Hulk Hogan, they've The Rock, they've Stone Cold. Why would Warner Brothers care about Ring of Honor and them having Daniel Bryan in 2004? Why would they care about that? Why would they care about CM Punk in Ring of Honor in 2005 when CM Punk has went on to be in massive WrestleMania matches and be a big star in WWE. There was no one in Ring of Honor at the time that was big. Ring of Honor's not a big brand, and it's Tony Khan's fault for overpaying that. It's crazy that Tony Khan spent more than 10 times the amount of money buying Ring of Honor and buying the library than McMahon did getting WCW. And that's Tony Khan's fault. Just because he overpaid for Ring of Honor doesn't mean someone's going to overpay him. So when you look at the grand scheme of things, what does Tony Khan have? He's got 4 years worth of AEW and a couple of decades worth of Ring of Honor that nobody cares about. I mean, it's going to be honest, like, who's going to pay money for Ring of Honor? It's not a brand. No one cares about Ring of Honor. Do you think Peacock would have offered WWE a lot more money if they had Ring of Honor in their library? No. Ring of Honor's fucking irrelevant. Ring of Honor ain't adding any zeros to a potential streaming deal. Now, if we want to talk about libraries that I think would be worthwhile acquiring, if Tony Khan could have maybe got TNA, got the Impact library. I know he was kind of working with TNA in the earlier years of AEW, and I don't know if he was ever planning on buying that, but at least with the TNA library, they've had a lot of legends over the years. You've had Hulk Hogan in TNA, you've had Ric Flair in TNA, you've had a lot of big names in TNA. I mean, Kurt Angle, you name it. There's been big stars in TNA and some pretty big moments in TNA, and TNA was a global, well, maybe not global, well, yeah, I'm going to say global. I mean, it was global, it was doing millions of viewers every week. I mean, TNA is on a different scale to Ring of Honor all completely. Well, TNA can never be compared to WWE. It was the second choice. It was the alternative for a long time in America, and it is head and shoulders in front of Ring of Honor. So, I mean, let's be real. TNA was massive compared to Ring of Honor, and the TNA library would be worth a hell of a lot more than Ring of Honor, and it would be worth paying for, I think, the TNA library. I think AEW could certainly use that to their advantage if they had that TNA library, but they don't. The Ring of Honor library, nobody cares about Ring of Honor, so Tony Khan, if he wants, I mean, he can try and get a deal. And look, I'm not saying AEW is not worth anything. Of course, there will be streaming services that will try and purchase this, but he's not going to get the deal that WWE are getting off Peacock. He's not going to get anything like that. This guy needs to be realistic. This library isn't worth much. It's 4 years of AEW and a bunch of shit years in Ring of Honor. That's it. The guy doesn't have anything else as far as I'm aware. He doesn't have any Japan shit. He doesn't have any Mexican shit. He's got nothing. He thinks he's got a massive streaming library. He doesn't have anything. Look at McMahon. McMahon had all this shit. I mean, you look at all the companies and territories that McMahon bought. Look how much stuff is on the WWE network. Then you throw in WCW, you throw in ECW, and then he's even adding stuff from like ICW and stuff like that. McMahon's getting all these other companies, and he's like just buying all their libraries over the years, and Tony Khan's got nothing, so I just don't see it happening, guys. I wouldn't pay for an AEW library. I don't even like watching AEW free shows, never mind. I couldn't even tell you the last time I bought an AEW pay-per-view. I think I bought a couple in like 2019. I maybe bought one in 2020, but last couple of years I haven't bought anything from AEW, and I wouldn't buy an AEW network. I've no interest in rewatching anything that's happened in AEW, and I've certainly no interest in watching stuff that happened in Ring of Honor 20 years ago. If you guys would, let us know in the comments if you want to pay for an AEW streaming service, but for me, there's no value in it. I wouldn't have any interest in it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, though, peace.